Dean Graziosi is a multiple New York Times bestselling author, investor, and an entrepreneur who's been involved in over 13 companies that have been changing lives all over the globe. He went from growing up in poverty, overcoming a learning disability, and rebuilding cars as a mechanic to becoming a highly successful real estate entrepreneur and best-selling author.
Need motivation? Watch a Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dean Graziosi, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Love what you do.
Love what you provide people so much that you feel like it's a disservice not to get them to say yes. Did you hear what I said? Love your product so much and make it so perfect that you feel you're doing people a disservice if they don't say yes. If I don't get you to buy my book, Millionaire Success Habits, I'm doing you a disservice. If I don't get you to listen to my podcasts on a weekly basis, if I don't get you to watch my weekly wisdoms, I'm doing you a disservice. So I will do everything in my power to get you to say yes. So that's step 1. Love what you do. Once you love what you do and you know you positively affect people's lives, if you're selling drugs, don't use this. This is unfair. If you're selling cigarettes or teaching people how to get hooked on gambling, then you have to look in the mirror and deal with that. But if you're providing a service, or if you're providing real estate, stock, whatever it is that you do, if you're doing it, you gotta love it so much that you want to get people in it no matter what.
Rule number 2, value your time.
My first apartment house, it was an old rundown mansion.
Massive lesson here, everybody.
Yeah, it was an old rundown apartment house, a mansion, beat up, old big house. And I ended up getting the house for no money down, and I converted it into 10 apartments. So what was cool is I'd fix one up, I was living in it while I fixed it, and then as soon as it was done, I'd rent it and I'd move in one not done. But I got through all 10 of them.
Crazy.
So now I have this 10-unit apartment house. It's doing great for me. I'm 19, 20 years old. You know, it's bringing me in $5,000 a month net, which was a gazillion dollars, because now I'm living for free. Yeah. And and plus it's building value. So I got no money down, refinanced it, pulled some cash out. I used that money to go into the next one. Long story short, had a huge lawn. So every Saturday, because my dad was born during the Depression, my dad grew up with, if you could do it yourself, you don't pay anybody, right? So every Saturday, I'd spend 5 hours. I had a massive lawn. I'd mow. I have allergies, so my eyes are tearing. I'm weed whacking. Shit hits your legs, and it's just. Yep. And then one day I realized, wow, I'm mowing my lawn a whole day. I hired the kid down the street for $50 to mow my lawn, and he's mowing the lawn. My dad pulls in. True story, zero exaggeration. I tell it to my dad all the time. He's like, sorry, I was wrong. My dad pulls in. He goes, and this is how my dad talks to me, whether you think it's true or not. He goes, Mr. Big Shot, you finally went too far. You're so freaking big now that you're gonna pay someone to mow your lawn when you can do it. And he got so mad that he left and he hit the gas, and it was gravel driveway, and he dented the shit out of the side of my car. It was just like, dunk, 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 dunk. And I'm like, and he left, and maybe he gave me the finger when he was leaving or something like that. That's my dad, he's got an Italian hot head, right? And he left, and it was so profound that I knew at that moment I was onto something. I really did. I'd love to say it was this epiphany and the sky opened up, but I was like, wow, my dad still struggles. And what I realized, and this is what I want to share with you, is I realized an ROI on my time. At that time, I had 15 apartments. I had 2 houses being built. I had a collision shop and a used car dealership. If I went down to the used car dealership and sold one car, I probably netted about $2,000 a car back then. I sold lower end cars. So in that day, without mowing the lawn, if I sold one car, it cost me $50 to mow the lawn, I made $2,000. Or if I drove around that day and found my next apartment house, could be tens of thousands of dollars. And it just hit me. It was so profound at that moment that I'm going to start equating things I do with an ROI. Yes. It's like if and the great part is if you keep noodling it, it doesn't matter if something costs you $500 an hour. If you're working in your unique ability, you can make $10,000 an hour, still pay someone to do it.
Rule number 3, be one version of you.
We get so lost in being something for someone else. Do we really remember who we are? Answer that question honestly. Think about that. I mean, maybe you were somebody for your parents when you were younger. Maybe you were someone for your teachers. Maybe you were someone for your first girlfriend, your first boyfriend. Maybe you're someone right now for your husband or your wife or your current situation with your parents. Or maybe you're someone for your boss. Maybe you're a certain someone at church on Sundays. And maybe you're another certain someone when the doors close and no one's watching. So who the hell are you? I mean, what version of you is really you? And I want to, that's a thought-provoking question on purpose, because life is going by so fast, it's unbelievable. And I mean, at least for me, I don't know about you, but the last 5 years, oh my God, it's on hyperspeed. I would slow it down. My kids right now are, as I'm sharing this, are 9 and 11. Like 5 minutes ago, they were babies. And that means in 5 minutes from now, they'll be graduating high school. And 5 minutes after that, they'll be, getting married, having their own kids. So let me ask you, are you wasting any time being someone that's not really you? You see, we are these, and we all do it. Don't think as I say that I'm perfect and I'm just this oneness and no, I'm not. But I'm acknowledging it and I'm aware of it and I work on it, because here's what I think. I think the ideal happiness, like we're all looking for happiness. We're all looking for more yay and less right, in our lives. I think we can all agree that's true. But when you're being someone else for everybody else, are you really being true to the best version of you? See, we're someone in front of all these other people, and we're someone if we're a boss or if we're an employee or any of that stuff, right? But then who's the person late at night when no one's around? Who's the person when you're thinking and your mind's just going? When the ego's not there, when the outside influences aren't there, when maybe you're a little bit more vulnerable. Who is that person? You see, here's what I know. Here's what I believe the definition of success is. First, it's knowing what success means to you. I know I'm being successful when? I know I'm being successful when I'm spending time with my family. I know I'm being successful when I have complete control of my life. I know I'm being successful when I have freedom to make the choices I want. First off is knowing what success means to you. But I think there's another layer, like there's another level. And the next level is, I know I'm being successful when I know who I am and I'm just being that. Imagine being congruent in all areas of your life. Everything, like your phone, you could leave it unlocked and open no matter where you go. If your boss was listening in, or your employees were listening in, or your business partner was listening in on every conversation of your life, you wouldn't care. If your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents were hearing what you said when no one was around. If your friends, then when you're with one group or one set of friends and you go with another group, if they could hear everything you'd say, it wouldn't matter. Imagine how successful, when I talk success, yes, I mean money, but I mean all the other pieces too. Imagine how successful we would be if we were just one version. There wasn't any hidden compartments. Do we all have secrets? Of course. I don't care who you are, unless maybe Mother Teresa. We all have secrets. We all have things that maybe we don't want everyone to know about. But what if we could work? What if we could work over time to become so congruent that there's only one version of you?
Rule number 4, have focus.
I think there's 3 types of entrepreneurs. There's an entrepreneur who wants to work under the blanket of someone else, right? They're the person that's in a company. You're like, man, that guy, that woman, they want to rise up through the ranks and be an entrepreneur, but kind of with the safety net. And it doesn't make them better or worse than anybody else. Without the implementers in your life, without the team, who would I be without the amazing people on my team? Secondly, there's lifestyle entrepreneurs. Like my buddy Dean Jackson, he's got this I know I'm being successful when list. This is for anybody who's got a lifestyle entrepreneur. There's just a certain amount of money. He says, I know I'm being successful when I don't have an alarm clock in my house and it never goes off. I wear black t-shirts every day and no one gives a shit. I golf, I golf at least 5 times a week. Correct. I live on a $50,000 a month net income. I live like, what do you say? I live like an artist with a trust fund, except I don't know how to paint. So he's got this, he has this list. He knows he's being successful when, and that's lifestyle entrepreneur. And then there's entrepreneurs that just want to they're accomplishment based. It has nothing to do with the money. They thought it was the money, and I think this with me. They thought it was when I get the money and success out of the way, then I could stop worrying. And it's not. It's the next accomplishment. What can you do?
It's
It's the game, and I think it converts. That's why you see somebody like Richard Branson that his whole life now is Virgin Unite. You know, his charity. I spent a couple weeks with him out in his island because me and Joe Polish raised $1 million for him, so we got to spend time with him. And he started that same process, made all the money, and then now he's still driven. But now it's how many more schools he can build in Africa. So it never changes. But always have your focus on something. Like you see people who go to Warren Buffett. His age, he's still crushing because he has a bigger purpose. We always have to have that. So I would say, a couple of years ago, especially when the kids are young, I was thinking of, should I just cash out and spend 10 years being a dad? But I wouldn't be the best me. I love accomplishing. I love creating. I love something new. So what's up, man? It's good to see you. I see you all over the place. I see you hustling. I see you impacting lives, doing amazing stuff on YouTube. I want to share whatever works for, your following, my following today. But I want to share, dude, your book, Built to Serve, you are built to serve. There's a difference when, I've been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I've been in the self-education industry for 24. Doesn't even seem possible. But there's a lot of people that when you kind of meet your heroes or you meet the people behind the book, a habits book, a Built to Serve book, a time management. It's like you meet the guy with the time management book and he's late getting on stage and stressed out of his mind in the green room. Like there's no congruency is what I wanted to say. And before we chat today, I just want to honor you and give you congruency. What you wrote in this book is really who you are, man. You are built to serve. You reach out to my team all the time and want to help with YouTube and tell us what we're doing wrong. And you're not doing it because of finances. You're not doing it because you're trying to get an edge. You're doing it just because this is who you are, man. So I love seeing you out there. I love seeing you grow. I love seeing the impact you're making.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. I'm still working on accepting compliments. So I'll just say thank you.
Oh, then I'm going to keep doing it through this entire thing to make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, great. Classic Dean. All right, cool. Well, also in that story, you've been really helpful in getting that book out. I remember when I came to Puerto Rico and was trying to get feedback on pre-launch, you and Brendan Burchard took time backstage while you're doing your big event. People paid all this money to come there, and you took time over lunch for 40 minutes to do a deep dive on my strategy. And just super grateful that you guys did that. And you hooked me up with your warehouse and, a whole bunch of things that Dean's a big reason why the book has got out there.
Just a little piece, man. Just what's up, everybody. I see the highs. So listen, appreciate everybody. I see all the cool comments coming in. So how can we deliver some value today? How do we help out? Besides, I do got to plug this. Like if you didn't check out Evan's Built to Serve, you should check it out. The truth is, I'm not all the way done. I freaking love it. My biggest problem is every book I read, Evan, I listen. I have such a hard time reading. I still have dyslexia. It still doesn't stick. So it's taken me longer. But when I actually read a book, it sticks. So highly recommend it. And it's just you. It's like it's having a 200-page conversation with you, which is always cool.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Well, I also have an audiobook version. I read it myself. So there's always
dude, please send that to me.
Rule number 5, become amazing at marketing and sales.
You know the movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. It might be before your time, maybe you never saw it, but it was a whole concept of if you build it, they will come. It was about his father was a professional baseball player, and he kept having these dreams, these visions, and heard this voice of if you build it, they will come, and he built this awesome baseball field out in the middle of his farm in a corn patch, and then all the ghosts of baseball past came and played. Amazing movie, great, inspirational. But that's unfortunately how most people feel about their businesses. They feel if you build something good enough, if you build the right, or you find the right widget, or you create something people need, that if it's so good, or if you write a book and it's so good, or you create a course and it's so good, or if you become a real estate investor and you're so good, if you build it, they will come. And guess what? They will not come. That's the biggest misconception people have about business. What happens is there's some outliers. There's a book every couple of years that just gets written and virally goes nuts. There's a video that gets made and it goes viral and everybody sees it. There's a product that's created and you see it and you don't hear anything behind the scenes. You just think they built it and people came. And that's not true. You see, if you don't focus your energy in your business, in your new side income, in the thing that you have passion for, if you don't focus on marketing and sales, most likely you'll fail. I don't know how else to put it. I'm just going to put it the way it is. People who don't obsess on marketing and sales fail. Here's what I know. I wanted to help change people's lives through showing them how I made money in cars and real estate. My first course to teach other people was called Motor Millions, because that's what I did. I hustled cars in my teens, my early 20s. I'd match buyers and sellers. I'd fix wreck cars, and I made a living. In fact, I got into real estate while I was doing cars. The cars what paid my bills. And I started with no money, so I wanted to show people how to make money with cars. I created a course called Motor Millions. Now, that was amazing. And I just thought, hey, I'm going to build this great course, being naive. I'm going to build this great course, show people I did it, and people are just going to buy it. That wasn't the case. I had to learn how to market, and that was tough because it went against everything. In fact, I used to think maybe marketing and sales was a little a little shady. Absolutely not. Everything you do, you're being marketed to. Everything you do, been sold to. Sales and marketing are the oxygen of every successful company. Remember that. Sales and marketing are the oxygen for every successful company. And think about it. Can you go without oxygen? Heck no. Can a business go without marketing and sales? Heck no. So then I build my first real estate course to teach people how I made money with real estate. Was called Think a Little Different. Same thing. Think a Little Different did pretty good. It was a great course. Showed people how to make money in real estate. It was a great course, but it wasn't a monster hit. And then I started realizing that what I was sharing with people, the benefits of my course, the benefits of my experience, the benefits of people not have to learn through their own trial and error. They can learn from my trial and error. All of that was there, but I was still doing okay. Several $1 million in sales. Profits were tiny. And then I realized what I was missing is I needed to obsess on marketing and sales. I needed not to become a good marketer, not good with sales. I had to become amazing at it.
Rule number 6, be great at a few things.
And something I just always love saying is, because it really affected me when I was young, stop trying to get good at the things you suck at too. I need to say that because it's the biggest lie we've ever been told. It dings our confidence when I still can't read. If I wrote you 2 sentences in an email, half the words would light up misspelled, and some of them are so bad that I tried 3 different times to spell it, and the computer can't even, like, if it could talk to me, it'd be like, idiot. Like, what are you trying to say? I have no freaking clue what you're saying, and then I just put, like, good. You know? Like,
I completely relate to that.
But what it does is, let me just ask you, watching or listening right now, if you work on something you suck at, does it make you feel empowered? Does it make you feel like you want to, like me trying to do accounting? Like, could never do it. It's not my personality. So, what I know about the most successful people on the planet, including you, Ed, you just got really great at a few things.
Correct.
The things that light you up, the things that inspire you, and when that fire starts, you can't stop it, and eventually you'll pay someone to do the things you suck at. Maybe you can't afford that now, but just don't let anybody give you a bill of goods on working on the things. Try to get better at what you're failing. No, just go get great at a few things. And
I wish I could debate you on that, but I can't because I 100% agree.
Rule number 7, let go.
Did you ever have something where it immediately boiled your blood, made you feel pissed, like anger or adrenaline rushed through, and not in a good way, not positive adrenaline? A lot of times that happens when you know someone took advantage of you. You know, sometimes that happens when people lie to you, like blatantly lie to you, or someone causes something when you knew it was going to happen. Like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. They do it and it breaks, or it changes, or the relationship is over, or the business doesn't work, or someone robs money from you. I don't know, maybe you're thinking right now, or maybe somebody took advantage of you by being unfaithful in the relationship. Yeah, this is Millionaire Success Habits Podcast, but all of these things lead to a successful life. And that's why I want to share each and every one of you. I want to share this with, because we got to get it. Like, this stuff's got to stick to us. We don't get this by reading one book or listening to one podcast or watching one video. We got to live this. For lack of a better word, we got to stop screwing around. We got to implement this and be a part of our life. So, the reason I'm sharing this morning, I bought a piece of property 20-something years ago. I'll just tell you the story at 30,000 feet. So I buy this property probably 20 I don't know, 24 years ago, 26 years ago, crazy, long time ago. I bought it with someone, and since then, they kind of bailed out. Little piece of property, not millions of dollars, smaller piece of property. But anyway, long story short, they bailed out. Don't pay the taxes, don't pay the insurance, and then so I've been paying it for years. Now, this has been 20-something years. The property's been sitting there, and I just had it for too long. It's time to I'm going to unload it and sell it to a friend at a huge discount. About a third of what I've paid for the taxes over the year and the insurance on the property, right? So I reach out to the half owner, and all I said was, hey, you know what? We got this property. I'm selling it to a friend just so I don't have to pay the taxes on it. If you want it, you could surely have it. Take over the taxes, but I'm just going to dump it. So could you sign off on it? No reply. Finally, I get a reply this morning, and it's like, well, how much could I get out of it? What kind of money can I get? And after all these years of not saying anything, and all these years of other circumstances where I went above and beyond for this person years and years ago to help out, that's what I got. Now, I'm literally in my car before I go, and I'm looking at text messages just moments ago, and I got furious. Like, it hit me, like maybe it's old feelings, like maybe being picked on when I was little because I was small, or you know, just something hit my ego, something hit my pride, and I was pissed. I'm like, I wanted to reply back, like, what the F do you mean? Like, all that I've done, paid all the taxes, all the other things, all I'm asking is to stop the bleeding, or you could even have the property if you want it. And that's the reply I get, not, hey, thanks for covering the taxes and insurance for all those years. Sorry I haven't brought anything up. Sorry I didn't contribute. But guess what? Here's what I realized. I got mad for probably, that something like that could have made me mad 20 years ago for a week. I could have bitched about it. I could have told my friends about it. I would have said, oh, you don't believe what's happening to me. So my first reply was a bit snarky, like not super sarcastic. I'm like, well, then I'm done. You can have it. Take the property. I'll sign it off to you. And I almost sent another one like, what the F, man? Like, why would you? And then I thought about it, and I said, the only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to film a bunch of videos today. I'm at my studio. I just pulled in my office. I'm at my studio. It's 8:24 a.m. as I'm recording this for you. And I'm going to go in and film videos for 3 hours on a training that I freaking love. It's going to be so awesome. You guys will get access to it, and you'll see it, and some new podcasts and all that. If I let that bug me, that's going to screw up how I positively affect you. If I let that bug me, it's going to throw my day off. If I let that bug me, I'm going to not be the same dad to my kids when they come home from school today. I'm not going to be the same person. It's going to throw me off. Guess what? The other person, nothing's going to change for them. The only person it's going to negatively impact by me getting pissed is me. Because can I make them act a different way? Am I in charge of their emotions? Am I in charge of the way they feel? And I thought, maybe they're going through something. Maybe they're financially strapped. Maybe they're fighting with their spouse or their loved ones. And I just sat. This all happened literally in moments. I'm sitting in the car ready to send a wise ass reply. And I said, if I send this, only person that's hurting is me. I'm going to be off today. I won't shoot my videos. I'll start thinking, why would they do this to me? I'm such a good guy in this situation. I went over and above, and people take advantage of me. Then I'll start thinking, who else is taking advantage of me? And who else has screwed me over? And why is that happening? And is my accountant doing the right job? Is my secretary doing a good job? That's the path we can go down. Am I perfect? Hell no. I screw this shit up all the time. But I just sat. And I erased the reply I was going to send, and I sent one back and said, okay, no worries. I'll handle it. I hope things are well with you. Have a great day, and best wishes on all you do. And I sent it, and it was done. It was literally done. The anger I felt, the getting taken advantage feeling I had, it was all done. It was out, and it was gone. And let me ask you, what are you holding on to right now that's hindering your success? You want millionaire success habits? Let go of the stuff that's holding you back. Let go of the stuff that builds resentment. Let go of the stuff that allows you not to trust anybody. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from great relationships. Let go of the stuff that's stopping you from having a partnership. Let go of the stuff that keeps you afraid of going on and venturing out to do your own thing. It's only hurting you.
Rule number 8, be an observer of your thoughts.
I'd love people to really think about is their thoughts. Have you ever read The Untethered Soul?
No.
Got to put it on your list.
Okay.
How about Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure you read that.
I have. Yes.
Okay. So, and Untethered Soul is, for me, it's that and so much more. It's a great book.
Wow.
So I don't know if you had another question. So I'll reframe that. It's that one.
Yes.
But if there's one specific question, I'd love for people to say, how do you be the observer of your thoughts? And that's something.
So how do you?
Yeah. And that's something I would, and the only reason I say this is because I've been obsessed with it for the last 3 years, because I want to be the observer of thoughts immediately. And I'm not there yet. I want it to trigger, because when you're having a bad day, an angst day, a stressful day, you feel off or overwhelmed, most of the time it's just the thoughts we're having in that particular day. And when you can look back and view those thoughts, you can make a decision to throw them out or not let that spin you up, or feel it for 10 minutes and then throw it out. But when you leave them there, they just linger. And the more I've become aware of my thoughts, the more I've evolved as a person. So I'm sitting here because my daughter, you're probably bored to death, hon. Love you. She's doing great over there. I'm going to tell a story about her. I am trying to observe my thoughts as they happen. Yeah. So I don't know if she'll remember this, but we were, and I'm sharing this as my story, but I want you to put yourself in these shoes. This could be your husband, your wife, your kids, your coworker, your partner, people you do business with, employer, employees. But we're at breakfast, and breakfast is really important to our family. We have breakfast every single day, and I cook for them most of the time. And so we sit at breakfast and we try to have conversations about gratitude and all this kind of stuff. And my son, Brody, was obsessed with these crayons. And they were like these crazy colors. They weren't red. They were like aqua blue, marine, something.
Sure.
So I'm sitting there using them, and I pull it out. I go, God, this is a cool color. And he names it. And I'm telling this for a reason. So I pull out another. He names all. I was at 25 or 50 in that pack. So he names all of them, these big, long names. I'm like, dude, what an incredible gift. I couldn't memorize these if I spent a month trying.
Right.
It's not how my brain thinks. But that's him. He's this structured, organized kid. Huh. So Bree... she says to me, I can do that. So I don't know if you remember this, hon, but she studied it. And like 5 minutes later on the second one, she didn't remember. I'm like, we're all blessed with different gifts. I couldn't remember. He does that, but my daughter's the inventor. She comes up with ideas that are real, not kid inventions. She's going to be amazing. She's going to be the visionary. My son's going to be the implementer. If you ever read Rocket Fuel, that's the two kids I have. I have an implementer and a visionary, right? So when she tried, all of a sudden, she got upset and started almost crying. And she said, because there was so much attention going to my son.
Of course.
And she says, Dad, it's because you spend more time with Brody than me in the mornings. And I remember just having the immediate thought that may have came from my dad or the way I was brought up. And I said to her, Bree, don't lie to me and don't lie to yourself. That's not true. I work my butt off to be completely equal, and you're telling yourself a lie. It's not a good story. And I went on this rant, and she tucked it up. She stopped tears. She tucked it up. It was the first time ever that she left the house without kissing me goodbye, ever. And I'm like, well, she just got to learn that lesson. Yeah. And she left for about a half hour, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, I observed that thought I had. And what I basically told my daughter is that I didn't give a shit about her feelings, that it didn't matter how she felt.
Right.
That Dad was right. Tuck it down. I said if she was married to a man and I watched her try to tell her husband about her feelings, how she was feeling, and he basically told her to shut up and tuck it down, I'd have a talk with that dude if he's married to my daughter. And I treated my daughter that way. I got in my car because I'm sharing this because I practiced trying to observe what's going on. Why am I feeling this way? What is this thought I'm having? Step back, look at it. When I stepped back and looked at it, I knew I screwed up. I drove to school 100 miles an hour.
Even if you were right.
Even if I was right. No,
but it's not about...
I might have been right that I keep equal time.
Yes.
But I didn't acknowledge her feelings.
Exactly.
I didn't acknowledge her feelings. I mean, and that's the gift of selling. It's not what people need. It's what they want and how they feel, right? So I told her feelings were off. I drove to her school 100 miles an hour. You were at chapel. Do you remember I came and got you out of chapel? I got her out of chapel, and I walked her outside, and I said, Dad screwed up. I said, I may have been right in context, but I wasn't right in telling you your emotions mean something, your feelings mean something. And we had a great talk. We hugged, we kissed. Her and I had the best relationship in the world. And I left. And I felt amazing. And she felt amazing. And I never would have caught that if I wasn't observing my thoughts. So I say that story about my family, my daughter who's sitting here right now. But who are you not? What thoughts are clouding your judgment in a marriage or in a relationship or in your partnership or trying to get a raise or taking your life to another level? Whatever it is in your life, most of the time it's those thoughts that are messing with us. And if you can observe them, you can adjust them.
Rule number 9, think outside the box.
I just told a story to a dear friend of mine that I haven't shared in ages. And I look back at this story. It's the first time I ever made $1 million. I was in my 20s. It was on a real estate deal. And I say that now, $1 million to me then might as well have been $200 billion. But I look back and I wonder if I would be as creative and as hungry now as I was when I did that deal. Because here's what I know is a lot of times being successful has a lot to do with being naive or not been told no to where you start believing what other people say, to not have watching the news for years so you just want to play small or listen to people tell you how now this isn't the right time, not the right president. All these things in life, these outside influences, outside game affects the inner game. It makes you play small without even realizing. Like every year you just start playing smaller and smaller. Well, I was in my early 20s, had no money. I mean, when I say no money, nothing, right? Just working hard. I was hustling cars. I was fixing wrecked cars and selling them. And this piece of property came for sale. Well, it actually wasn't for sale. It came for sale because I became friends with the owner. His name was Mark Miller. He's a famous artist, and he owned 28 acres of vineyards because he owned a winery, and there was an old vineyard, had the grapevine still in it, but the weeds had grown up. And everybody stayed away from this property because he wanted $180,000, and all the neighbors got so used to the property being vacant that one guy shot his bow and arrow. He practiced, his arrow for archery hunting. He practiced on the property. Another guy had his four-wheeler trail through the whole thing. Another guy, there was a barn on the property, and one of the neighbors kind of adopted the barn because it was kind of vacant, no one was around. So he kind of adopted the barn and used it, and to him it was his. And the other guy up on the hill just wanted complete privacy. He didn't want anybody building next to him. That's in real estate, we call it not in my backyard. I could build a house, but I don't want anybody building in my backyard, right? So everybody stayed away from this property, and plus he was asking maybe a little bit too much. But Mark Miller and I, the gentleman on the property, became friends, and I made a deal with him to give him $90,000 up front and $90,000 in 2 years or a year, something like that. And I was going to subdivide this property. So I didn't have the 90 grand back then, and I told this story prior to one of my clients and friend lent me the money to buy the property. I made him a partner on it. So I went to Mark Miller, I locked up the property, and I go through the... Now, I'm sharing this story specifically, take the lessons out of it, is one of it was being naive. And one of and I put this in my first real estate course, which was called Think a Little Different. Because I want to encourage you to think outside the box. Life paints you inside. Life is forcing you in at all times. We go to school and they give us time frames and buzzers and bells and don't talk to anybody else and sit in your square, sit in your world. Don't stray out. In business, if you don't collaborate with others, you die. But in school, if you do it, it's called cheating. Makes zero sense to me. It's like the world is designed to put you in the box, and the only people who make it to live at their full potential are the ones who break out of the box. So I'm sharing this story because being naive, being young, and being freaking hungry. I mean, I was hungry for another level. There was nobody telling me no, made this $1 million deal. So buy the property. I start going through the subdivision process, and I'm beg, borrow, and steal. I'm hustling cars during the day to use the money to pay for this subdivision. I have engineers and architects, and then I got to lay out the road, and I'm learning all this stuff about a big subdivision. It's called a major subdivision. I had done a minor subdivision, which was like 3 lots or 4 lots or less. So now I'm doing a major, and all of a sudden it starts. I go to the first planning board meeting, and all the neighbors show up, and they're just like I murdered their children, for lack of a better word. They just despised me. And I'm like, wow, how am I going to do that? And you got to realize in business, one person upset can stop or cause you years. And I didn't have the money to drag this thing out for years and fight the neighbors and all that kind of stuff. So they go, and one of the guys' name was Wade Sargent. His mother and my mother were best friends growing up. So Wade was still there fighting me. He didn't want this subdivision to go in his backyard. So I walked to Wade's house one day. This is being hungry. This is being not afraid to go after your dreams, not taking no as an answer. When's the last time you gave up too easy and someone else got their dreams, maybe with your idea? So I knock on Wade's door. His name was Wade Sargent. I said, hey, Wade, what's up? Hey, Dean. He was kind of like, you're my friend, but you're trying to ruin my backyard. So I said, Wade, listen, I'm going to make that subdivision happen. It might take me longer. Everybody can fight me. I'm going to make it happen. I don't give up. But how can I make you happy? And what he told me changed everything. He said, well, I just really don't want the road to go close to my backyard. If I had a little buffer, he said, if I had a little buffer, I'd be fine. I'd support you. I'm like, well, by buffer, you mean if I sold you a piece of that property, you'd be happy? He said, yeah, would you do that? I said, heck yeah, I'll take your money. So I do a lot line revision, not even a subdivision. You don't have to know real estate to understand this. I did a lot line revision, and I gave him a half of an acre, and he cut me a check. I'm like, wow. I went to all the neighbors. The guy that was using the barn like it was his, carved out an acre and sold him the barn. The guy that wanted privacy, I sold him 4 acres. Another guy wanted a 2-acre cushion. Next door, a neighbor wanted to sell some lot, wanted to put a house for his daughter on his property someday. I ended up selling over $250,000 worth of lot line revisions to the neighbors. And all of them happy. All of a sudden, all of them from hating me, everybody staying away from this property, they all love me. I was the guy going down the road, they high-fived me, they waved to me. And then guess what? Then I subdivided the center piece of property and sold the center for over $800,000. Brought in over $1 million on this piece of property by making the neighbors happy. Now, people much smarter than me, developers in our town, looked at that property, told me I was crazy. Rick Affuso's dad told me, because he had farmed that property when he was a kid, and I respected him. He was a great real estate developer in our little town. And he told me, you paid $180 for that property, you just lost your butt. He didn't say but. You just lost your ass, he said. And I was like, damn it, maybe I did. But they were all looking at it from inside the box. I was desperate. I was hungry. I didn't take no for an answer. And I looked at it completely different. Like the name of my first course, Think a Little Different. Where in your life right now are you inside the box and you don't realize it and you need to think a little different? That's where change happens. That's where innovation happens. That's where breakthroughs happen. That's when people go, holy crap, how did he do that? How did she do that? It's by not taking no for an answer, not looking at it through a set of glasses that everybody has. Everybody's got the same glasses on. Wear a different pair. Look at things differently. Go for it. Don't let the world talk you into being complacent.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is listen and apply.
There's probably not much I'm sharing today you haven't heard before. You've read it in books, you've heard it someplace, you've watched a video or a podcast, but what I'm going to ask you to do for the first time is actually listen and apply it. And that's been my mission lately, is like, I know there's some of the things, success principles are the same since the beginning of time. But when is it time to stop being inspired, stop just watching Ed, and start just doing what Ed does? Like, when is that time to stop looking for the next hit of a great podcast, the next hit of watching Tony or Dean or Ed or Andy or somebody watching, feeling good, and then going back to the same routine? What if this was the time? What if this was the interview? What if this was the moment you said, I'm not just going to listen, I'm going to start to do?
Now, I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And write down in the comments below when you're going to take action on that takeaway this week. When you schedule in what day, what time, and what place you're going to take action, you have a 91% chance of actually following through, compared to just 35% if you just got motivated but never created a plan. And when you share your plan and have accountability, you give yourself an even higher chance of following through. So in the comments below, write down your single biggest takeaway as well as your specific plan of action, because I want to celebrate with you.
When we did the fundraiser with Richard Branson, we went there. I watched everybody trying to ask him, like, how'd you get to be a billionaire? And I think that's the wrong question when you see somebody successful. I think it's more of like asking them either what their why was or how they overcame obstacles or how they persevered. So I think, and I don't think it's about it's about the story. It's just, I think so many people give up on the 5-yard line. I think so many of you are just there and you think it's so much heavier. When you start playing at a higher level, there's not a lot of competition.
No.
And I'm not doing much different. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not doing much different now than I did to start my collision shop and start my auto sales. I'm doing the same thing, just on a bigger scale. I still have to overcome negativity. I still have to get out of bed. I still am stressed some days. And there's some days I question myself. There's some days I make bad decisions. And it's just how you get over them, how you handle it, and how you go forward is everything.
If you want to change your life for free in the next 30 days, click the link right here below me. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from Dean Graziosi, click the link right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.